welcome back to Soul Session episode 3 with Lorelai Bayette, myself, and
Dr. Nancy Andrade.
And today we have a juicy topic we're talking about: breaking up and letting go. So buckle up, this is going to be a ride.
Juicy.
So a lot of the times when we break up, we break down. And part of that is necessary, but part of it is also building yourself back up. So, Dr. Nancy, in your experience with people and breaking up, what is it that gives you that feeling of devastation?
The attachment piece. I'm not talking about you are not allowed to have anything, not have a boyfriend, not have a car, not have a house, not have material things or relationships, a title or whatever. What I'm talking about is being attached to that as your identity. When we have a relationship and we are seeing this relationship as this is me, this is my identity, this is who I am, or this is my car is my identity, my title, my Dr. Nancy is my title and my identity, and I attach everything I am to that. If I don't have it anymore, then I'm devastated. This is where the feeling comes from, attachment.
Yeah, so all those things after I am kind of associate with the ego in a sense. And I definitely in my past in relationships have identified as being a girlfriend. And so that was part of my identity. It was like, oh, I'm a girlfriend. I incorporated that into my routine. And so some of the signs that you are becoming too attached and too involved is when you start thinking about what they should be doing or what they need before yourself, or leaving your weekends open because just in case they want to hang out. When you're kind of revolving your life around your relationship, you're starting to abandon yourself, and you're going to start losing yourself more and more and more and more. And so when you do that, not only does this isolate you, maybe not physically, but emotionally, it isolates you, but it also puts a lot of pressure unnecessarily on the relationship. So it's actually what's good for you is also what's healthy for you.
Yes. An attachment to a relationship in terms of you identify as a girlfriend is not just the name a girlfriend, but it is the duty that you're supposed to have. It's giving up your own desires and needs. And I'm not saying that you cannot compromise and do things together, but when you neglect yourself completely to be the girlfriend, then that's when we have a problem of attachment. That's when we're saying, okay, you are nobody if you don't do this. Who are you? That's where the first question will come. So when this breakup occurs, then your identity is what? Who are you? What is sustaining you? What have you cultivated on yourself that says, okay, yes, I am hurt because I love this person. I am hurt because this is not the way I wanted it to go, but it's not killing you. It's not, devastating you to the point where you cannot live without him or the job or the car or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think I definitely got to experience the contrast of those two. So in one relationship, I was like isolated, and also what I see a trend of in some of my clients is mentally in their business, mentally living wherever they're at. If you're at work, whatever you're doing, somehow mentally you're with them. And so even that is a cycle that needs to be broken. Present moment, when you're with your friends, present moment. When you're with whatever you're doing, present moment. So I saw the contrast of being in a relationship where when I was in my early 20s, of making my life revolve around that man that I love so much. And when he left, my whole world broke down. And then in the next relationship that I had been filling myself up And who am I as a woman? Who am I? What am I about? What is my mission? Who are my friends? What do I like to do? Those were all the sexy qualities they liked in the first place. That enterprising woman who showed up. That's the thing, because men don't expect women to change, and we do. And women expect men to change, and they don't. So it's all about, establishing your identity, and that is why it's kind of difficult having relationships in your 20s, because you're like, wait, who am I? What am I? And then, we want to feel good immediately, so we hop to the relationship, and now we identify feeling good with that relationship. And so what other things help you feel good?
Yeah. So before we jump into that solution or that way of coping, many of you, including ourselves, have experienced breakup and pain and letting go, having to let go. And that doesn't come with flowers and butterflies.
No.
That comes with a lot of pain and a lot of regret and a lot of midnight phone calls and things we shouldn't be doing. And perhaps reconsidering things and saying, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. But at this point, when we're suffering so deeply, how do you let go? How do you move past that? Sure, we can say in your next relationship, this is what you're gonna do, but right now at this moment,
yes,
when you are suffering, what do you do? So there are 3 steps that I would like to take you through. The first step is to be present with your feelings. In a previous video, we talked about how to be in your emotions, how to do the ritual, and how to write down, journal all of your emotions. Be completely there, because behind the emotions is the answer. Now, you can think your way out of it, and guess what? Well, what if this happened, and what if this happened, and if I would have done this, maybe he wouldn't have left, and da-da-da. When you go into your thoughts, let me tell you, we have millions and millions of thoughts. You're gonna go crazy with this. Where you go is with your emotions, with your feelings, and they don't feel good, let me tell you. They feel awful. So what do? We try to, let's avoid it. I don't feel anything, I'm good. In fact, I'm gonna go date somebody else, or I'm gonna just go party with my friends. I'm gonna suppress what I'm feeling so I don't feel it. But it comes out with a vengeance. It comes out so badly. And we talked about this in the previous session. And so when you are present with your emotions, you are able to actually go into the root of that. You might start feeling like, okay, I'm really sad, and you're journaling, I'm really sad, and I can't believe this happened. Then you feel guilt, then you feel regret, then you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you uncover that emotion that is the one that needs healing. So that's one of the first steps. Now, that person is your mirror. That person is going to show you the parts of you that you're not attending, the parts of you that you are hurting. Yeah, you might say about that person, well, he neglected me. He never spent time with me. He did this. He called me that. He, told me I was this and that and whatever. How many times have you said that to yourself? How many times have you neglected yourself to give to somebody else? How many times did you not rest, take a nap, take that bath, went for a walk, exercised, ate well? How many times did you neglect yourself for somebody else? How many times did you call yourself so stupid? How many times? So those people are coming to you to reflect, to be your mirror, to say, like you mentioned it before, checking it. What did you call it?
In the last video, I called it complain or criticize and complexion. So every time you complain or you criticize, just to recap from the other video, every time you complain or criticize, hold the mirror up, because you embody that. It's showing you something about yourself every single time, every single complaint, every single criticism.
Yes. So when you are in that pain and you're saying, wow, I really don't respect myself. I really think very little of myself. I really don't feel like I'm enough. Oh, then you get to that pain. And let me tell you, feeling the pain is a good thing. You know why? Not because we love torture. No. It's because the pain of staying the same is going to move you towards change. Tony Robbins had a really good quote that said, the pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change for you to make a move, for you to change something. Is that?
Yeah, so I forgot the exact quote, but Tony Robbins says, people only change when the pain of staying the same, they can no longer tolerate.
Yes. So when you are experiencing such a pain in a breakup, in a job, in a loss, any kind of loss, when you're experiencing this pain, use it as a way of changing you, as a way of moving you. Use it as fuel. Instead of beating yourself up and say like, oh, I'm such a loser, instead of reaffirming all these belief systems that you already have about you, use it to say, enough of me thinking about myself as little, enough of me thinking that I'm not worth it, enough of this. I'm gonna start taking care of myself today, right now. So use that pain. Don't be afraid of the pain. So number one, explore the pain that you're feeling very deeply.
Yeah, and I think the key word in that is to explore. Oftentimes when we sit down and we're in that space and we're going down, it's almost like you're in a dark sea and you're really, really being curious, and you have to sit there and really be exploring your inner world, because it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna write it out, it's gonna come out. You're sitting there, you're like, I'm feeling sad, and I like to egg it on. How can I feel the most sad right now?
Yes.
Oh my God, like he really loved me, and I didn't. And
Watch
then,
a sad movie or something.
right?
Put
Like
music
put
that is
on
really
Adele.
sad.
We all know Adele is like, you know. So you put on the music, you do whatever, and you're exploring and you're going deep down. You're like, I feel guilty as fuck. I did this wrong. I did this wrong. I did this wrong. And then like all of a sudden you're like, but you know what?
Yeah.
He also did this to you, and you know what? And then you get angry, and you're like, wait, hold up. This isn't one-sided, okay? He did this, he did that. Let's come from an aerial view. So there's another viewpoint. Even when you're exploring, you go really deep, and this is the beauty of it. You go really deep, and most of the time you hit that inner child. That's where we're headed. That's what we're digging for. Because we're like, oh, the first time my mom said this or that. And so you get to that inner child and you're like, wow, I don't think I'm good enough. And so when you hit that inner child, you can be like, come here, little Lorelai. You are good enough. I do love you. I know this sounds crazy, but it's beautiful.
Perfect.
When you're alone and you go down there and you get down and you keep going, and you're like, you're beautiful. I know you were neglected when you were young, and just imagine that you are that little girl. I know you were neglected when you were young. I know your parents left, but that has nothing to do. You are vibrant. You are whole. You are a divine soul. You came here with purpose and passion, and every day that you wake up is a new chance, and you are doing your best. And that's how you get from the inner child to the aerial view.
Yes.
The aerial view comes from almost like your higher self, your mothering self, your friend, what your friend might tell you. Your friend gives you different advice than you would give yourself. Because you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, he won't return my phone calls. Like, he's talking to other women, and I just love him, and I feel like I'm driving him away. But if you heard your friend say that, you're like, girl, he's not returning your phone calls. He's talking to other women. You deserve better. Yeah. But like she said, you can't just skip from the problem to the solution. You have to, number one, explore, go deep, and deeper and deeper. And what's beautiful about it is it begins to just go away.
Yeah. And I would not suggest that you do this on your own. Please find someone that can take you deep into this process. find a counselor, psychologist, someone, because what you're going to discover is that this goes much deeper than you think.
Mm-hmm.
There might be traumas or things like that that you will discover in all this pain that needs healing. So please do it with somebody that can take you there safely, not on your own, okay? So please remember that.
And now, you can contact her, not to cut you off, but she does one-on-ones in person and on Skype or FaceTime, and so do I. So we're both very available to you.
Yes, yes. And so part of the inner child work is to connect to those pieces of information and belief systems that were implanted in you when you were just like a sponge, absorbing everything and understanding everything from this wonder, innocent, childlike eyes. And at that moment, you were so open that you believed everything. And if somebody told you, you're so stupid, you're worth nothing, or get out of my way, you would take that as the truth. And so what's happening though, when a boyfriend says, you're stupid, you're worth nothing, get out of my way, whatever, guess what? Whoop, direct connection to that original wound. Not in every case, of course, but that would be something for you to explore, to go a little bit deeper into that. A really good book that I would recommend is The 4 Agreements.
Yes.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
So good.
Really, really good book. I would say read page by page and interpret, try to dissect it. It's such a small book. It's so quick to read, but it's so deep and so insightful on that. So the first step is to recognize what is the pain that I am discovering from that. I'm not going to reject it. I'm not going to put myself down for feeling sad, angry, grief, etc. I am going to observe and realize, this is the message. The second step is the letting go piece. There are 2 ways of doing this. One way is to say, okay, what is the worst case scenario? If I don't have this, if I don't have this job, if I don't have this car, if I don't have this relationship, if I don't have whatever, what is the worst case scenario? Can I survive that? And the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. We have survived so much so far, and look at us. We're alive. We are fine.
And think back to a time when you thought you could not even move on, and look at you moving on.
Yes.
Look at you thriving over there.
Yes.
When it rains, it pours. We all have our seasons.
Yes. So we have survived so many things, but we forget how resilient we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we can survive this. What is the worst case scenario? That we are crying our eyes out, that we are single, that we are heartbroken, and okay, we've done it before and we can do it again. And I would say look for support. If you are in that space, look for support. The second piece of that is, what is the best case scenario?
Yes.
What is the best? You know what? Now I'm free. You know what? Now I can take care of me, like you were saying. Now I can have time to take that class that I've been wanting to take. Now I can go out with my friends that I've neglected all this time. Now I can actually do the things that I want to do. So those are 2 ways of seeing that. You know, so when you are ready to let go, the word or the phrase that I want you to kind of tell yourself is, so what? So what? So what? He broke up with me.
I was living before you and I will continue to live. You do not define me. As a woman, I am whole. I am loved. I cannot lose. I lack nothing. And I will move on. And that is the part where I get fired up. So that's why it's important not to skip that first step.
Yes.
Because that second step of letting go, when you look at the worst case scenario, you get some perspective now. Now it's time to become the the best version of yourself.
Yes.
Because every time a man breaks your heart, every time you lose a job, every time something is let go of in your life, it is the chance to expand and evolve beyond it, and be even more powerful and wonderful than ever. And now you have all the time to do it.
Yes.
Like she said. And I think it's important to celebrate those moments in those moments. So it's like, wow, I'm in salsa class. I couldn't have done this in a relationship. It's important to say those things and practice appreciation. To appreciate means that more will come. So if you want more of that feeling, because you're not missing him, this is what she actually taught me. Love. Because I was like, why do I still mix my ex after all this time? Like a few years ago, I was with this other guy, and it was just like a few years ago, she's like, you don't even miss him. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you don't miss him. You miss how he made you feel. So now with that knowledge, I can make myself feel how he made me feel without him. So that way I'm not needing him to make me feel that way. So if salsa dancing makes me feel alive, he made me feel connected. He made me feel like I had purpose. He made me feel strong and powerful. So you know what? Let me go to the gym. Let me go with my friends. Let me work a little harder. Let me embody those feelings.
Yes. And without the attachment. Because it wasn't him who was giving her that. It was that feeling that she was missing, that she can give to herself. And so when you tell yourself, so what you're doing is you are challenging those cognitive distortions that come to your mind. When you start telling yourself,
well, what if I do this? Oh, what if I probably messed it up? I probably did it.
Tons of BS, cognitive distortions, a lot of thoughts that have no bearing whatsoever into this. So then you challenge them and you say, so what? Well, what if he didn't love me? So what? So what? Who cares? Move on. Let's go. You challenge that and you change the way you are feeling, the way your emotions are running. You can move into a feeling good without first letting go of and exploring all of those feelings that you have. So please don't jump to that spot, to that place of like, oh, whatever, who cares? It's his loss. No, let's feel this first, because if not, you're going to manifest somebody who's going to bring you back again to step one.
Right, and it takes you way longer.
Yes. So he's here to teach you something. And I know that you don't want to see him as a teacher. You want to see him as the devil.
Right, as the enemy.
Yes. But he is your teacher. He came here to teach you something about you. Not about him or the world, about you. What are you doing that you keep repeating or grabbing the same kind of guys?
Yeah.
And so if you skip step one, which is going into your feelings deeply, and you're like, oh, so what? Then you're missing the lesson. You're missing the point. So the second piece, the first piece is feel your feelings. The second piece is to let go and also to say, so what? Let's move on. Challenge all those cognitive distortions
by thinking what's the worst case and what's the best case.
Yeah.
And something that has helped me is in the past is setting deadlines. Setting deadlines for something little I can let go of at a time. So, okay, in 3 weeks I'm gonna stop looking at his Instagram. That's something I can let go of. We can do that, right? We can stop stalking a little bit. All right, fine, I'll let go of that. And you know what? A month from now, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Whatever I feel is necessary, I'm gonna stop talking about it and start removing it. I'm gonna start shutting that off in my brain. Oh, don't have time for that today. Nope, you've occupied too much of my space. Nope. And just knocking that path off in my mind. So you can set little tiny deadlines for little things you can let go of at a time, and then before you know it, you're just skipping along.
Yes. So I can imagine that you are watching this video and you're all empowered, and then tonight you go to bed and you're like, I miss him, I wonder what he's doing, and you go through that. Right at that moment, you put that aside and you write down what you're feeling.
Yes.
I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling unwanted. You go down to your deep feelings. The deeper you go with this, I'm promising you, the easier will be to
Faster.
let go. The easier and the faster you'll be.
Oh my God, yes.
So when you feel drawn to see what he's doing, to call him, there is an emotion there, love. Don't skip it. There is a need right there that you believe he's going to fulfill. That you believe that by calling him and him telling you these magic words is going to fulfill that need. And that is not true.
It's not.
It's not going to happen. You're going to be disappointed because it's over.
Right.
It is over. But what's not over is your need. And who's going to fulfill your need? It's not him. It's not another guy. It's not chocolate. It's not shopping. It's you. You hear me? You.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's not when it, and that's the thing. It's over. Period. Not it's over. ... Because that's where it gets tricky. It's not until you make the decision. Okay, when he said it was over, or when I said it was over, it's over. So now I am responsible for me. Now it's time to take care of me. Now it's time. Now I can really shut that down. There's no what if this, what if that, like she said, all those spirals are out of control in your mind. It is over.
Yes. Close.
And
Chapter.
boom, bury it. It's in a casket. Put the dirt over it.
And that's
Goodbye.
part of the grieving process. When somebody loses a loved one, they go through rituals. They go through prayers or ceremonies or things like that. And perhaps this could be also your ritual, to do a ceremony to say, okay, this part of my life is over. What did I learn? What did I get from that? Every day is going to be a challenge. Every day you're going to miss, oh, this is the restaurant that we went to. Oh, I remember we had this word. Oh, this is the song that we play. And over and over and over, you're going to start nurturing yourself and say, I'm going to create new experiences. I'm going to create new memories. So I don't depend on those memories to make me happy. I don't attach my happiness to him or to this relationship. My happiness is independent of my relationship. Let me tell you something. When you are with someone that you love, you're not putting on him all the load to make you happy, all the responsibility to make you happy. You're going there happy already, taken care of already, to share happiness with him. Of course, relationships can share sadness together, but it's not his responsibility to make you happy, honey. It's not. So be careful with jumping without grieving. Be careful with not closing that chapter. Close the chapter. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Delete him from Instagram or do a ceremony with your friends.
No contact.
Yes.
That's
have your
another one,
friends
no
hold you
contact.
accountable to everything that you can do. So we have, first is go into your feelings deeply and discover the gift and the pain in that. The second piece is let go. So what? Looking at the worst case scenario or the most positive scenario. And the third piece is, what was the meaning? There is an amazing book called
Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's
Search for Meaning.
Man in Search for Meaning, that's right. And he writes about his experience in the concentration camps, where he had nothing. No wife, no girlfriend, no clothes, no food, no nothing, not integrity, nothing. But he found was meaning, purpose. So when you are going to let go, the last piece for letting go is, what was the meaning? Why did I go through that? Things happen for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There's a book called Conversations with God, and Neil Walsh explains this in such a beautiful way. He says that there are two souls that are talking up in heaven, and they're talking to God, and they're like, what is forgiveness? And God said, do you want to know what that is? Yeah, I like to know. Okay, I'm gonna send you down to the humans and you're going to experience forgiveness. Anybody wants to help? And the other souls is like, me, I'll help. Okay, so you both gonna go down. You, the volunteer, are going to hurt him or her, like very badly, so she can learn how to forgive. Okay? Oh, really? Do I have to do that? Well, I want to learn. Okay, fine. So with their contract, they go down to earth and they forget who they are, their souls that they are, the angels that they are, and they need to learn about forgiveness. You don't learn forgiveness by situations where like, oh yeah, I forgive you. You learn forgiveness when somebody hurts you or you feel hurt by somebody. Now, it's all about your attitude, really. You can continue feeling victimized, or you can see the lesson in this experience. It's your attitude, it's your choice. Yeah.
It's easy to blame him.
Yes.
Or blame her, or blame the job, or blame. It's the number one trait of a successful person is they take responsibility.
Yes.
You know, well, how can this improve my life? How can I use this productively? Because the best revenge is not what you're thinking it is. It's becoming the badass woman you are always meant to be, and the universe already knows. It's just you finding your way back there. And so how do you find your way back there? Going within. How do you go within? Kind of when you're forced to.
Yes, yes.
You know? Otherwise we'd be walking around like, la, 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 this is cool, and then things happen and it forces you to go within.
Yes.
And this is about becoming that badass woman, that holistic go-getter, that phenomenal divine goddess.
Yes.
When you walk around, you have that certainty, that confidence, because you've already been there and you've done that and you've done the work.
Yes, and crisis helps us grow, helps us learn. So take this opportunity. I know that it's not easy to go through that. We've all felt that pain of having to let go. But take this opportunity. There is a deep lesson here. And when you go through these 3 steps, the deep, explore your emotions deeply, let go, and then find the purpose or the meaning. When you go through the steps, you'll find that that person was such a godsend.
Yes.
It was hurtful, and that was his behavior. That was his contract. He needed to act like an asshole. Sorry.
Yeah.
To teach you something, to teach you about yourself. But once you recognize what the lesson was, you can let go.
Yeah, I love all of my exes. I really do. I love them so much, and I have so much compassion for everyone that's ever hurt me, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And that feels so much lighter and better, and that just makes me have a light. I don't want to be filled with darkness and have you renting space in my mind or occupying space in my mind rent-free, you know?
Yeah.
So,
you don't have to love, because she's such a loving person, but you don't have to love your exes.
Yeah, that's
You just
true.
have to forgive them. As long as you forgive,
yeah.
and you let go. You don't hold them hostage. You don't keep saying like, they hurt me, but they taught me, okay? So that's so important, freedom from forgiveness, okay? But through the steps. Great job.
Yeah, so you know what? Before we leave, I want to know, what have you learned in the past? In the comments, I love seeing you guys in the comments. What have you learned in the past from your relationships? How have things that have brought you to your knees and made you cry, how have those things impacted you in a positive way? So think about a time where you thought you couldn't get through something or something bad happened to you.
Yeah.
What lesson came of that? What did you learn? What was the meaning? What was the blessing?
Yeah.
What was the lesson? Yes. So please comment below. If you haven't subscribed, and as always, our information is in the description box, and we'll see you guys next time. This has been a joy. Signing off, Soul Session Episode 3. Lorelai Bayette.
Dr. Nancy de Andrade.
Love you. Big hugs.